While I had hoped to review Nobody, the new action romp starring Bob Odenkirk, movie theaters in my dumb state are still shut down. As a result, I went into the iTunes store, looked at the rankings of top films, and this is the one I selected. Promising Young Woman. The title is a bit of a misnomer since Carey Mulligan's Cassie seems to be anything but promising. That's kind of the point, and this revenge thriller carries a message that first-time director Emerald Fennell hammers over your head. Repeatedly. With a sledgehammer. Not just a normal hammer, like I need to bang a nail into the wall and hang a picture on it, but a sledgehammer. A really big one, like the size of a car. Thank you so much for checking out the review. Before we get started, click on that red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new video. There will be some light story spoilers, so let's get into it. Arriving onto the scene with the subtlety of a stick of dynamite, Promising Young Woman has some things to say. A couple of dude bros get hammered at a bar in small town Ohio. One of them finds a drunk girl sitting alone and offers to help her get home. He ensures that both us and the drunk girl in question are fully aware that he is a nice guy who just wants to help. Because this movie has no time to waste, he immediately takes her drunk ass back to his place, only to find out that she's not drunk and he has been played. As you could probably guess, the drunk girl is Cassie, the promising young woman noted in the the title of the movie. She's approaching her 30s, lives at home, and spends her nights pretending to be blackout wasted and tricking guys into taking her home so she can turn the tables and embarrass them. So here's the big question. Why? Why did she abandon medical school? Why does she always seem so down and depressed? Why does she keep roping dumb and gullible guys into this routine, and what is the long game she's playing? The revenge thriller is fairly common and can be tough to get right. Your protagonist needs to have the right motivation, they need to be relatable and sympathetic, and the movie needs to pace itself properly in order to rope the audience in. These particulars are what Promising Young Woman gets right from the very beginning. Cassie has a pretty damn compelling reason for doing what she's doing, and despite the message being way too on the nose, it's very appropriate for today's audience. All the performances here are right on the money. Carey Mulligan, who I've only seen in 2011's Drive, makes the whole thing tick. It's a low-key performance, but that's dictated entirely by the story. Cassie isn't necessarily someone looking to right a specific wrong until the movie dictates it necessary, and when those moments finally do come, it's well worth the wait. Promising Young Woman is very much a slow burn thriller, taking far more time getting us there than the opening sequence would indicate. Mulligan manages to give Cassie a plethora of humanity despite occasionally being underserved by the script. While the vast majority of the narrative is on the money, specific lines are repeated ad nauseum, and every single male character is a soulless, lifeless, empathy-free scumbag, douchebag, asshole, brain-dead moron dipshit. I appreciate what the movie is trying to say, at least I think I do. The movie treats every single male character as complicit in unspeakable acts of evil, and treats the guys in the audience in the exact same way. I'm no simp, and I'm certainly not a male feminist, because I don't think the people who call themselves that actually know what they're talking about, but I am somebody with a functioning brain that can tell when a movie is treating me like an idiot. In spite of its many accolades and the great performances, it absolutely panders to the female audience and leads hard into the man-bad narrative. I don't review movies to make my viewers feel better about themselves or to vindicate a filmmaker. I review movies with a critical eye because I would expect nothing less if I were a filmmaker myself. None of these critiques make Promising Young Woman a bad movie. The content of the message is on point, but the lack of subtlety in the delivery, in my opinion, holds it back from true greatness. It's a tough balance to strike because the male characters here are really bad guys, and the two fellas that aren't cardboard cutouts simply do not get the attention they deserve. Another issue I have is the one that will probably just be my personal preference, but for a revenge thriller, this movie has very little actual blood or frightening imagery. It's not a bad thing per se, I don't need to see anyone get their face eaten off, but there are a few obvious instances where Fennell should have shown us what was happening to help further the impact of these moments. Let me start to wrap this up with one final critique. The ending is too convenient, too forced, and just too perfect. It's by no means the stereotypical happy ending, but it reeks of studio interference. The movie has a dark sense of humor, and instead of ending when it should, it drags things from possibly realistic to completely implausible, and in doing so undermines much of what has come before. Emerald Fennell should be commended because she has a keen eye for visuals, a great way with the actors, and should be a force to be reckoned with for a long time to come. She came so very close to landing all of her punches, and I have no doubt that her future efforts will do more showing and less telling. Thank you so much for checking out the review. If you found it helpful, please consider subscribing. You can also like and share the video since that tells YouTube my channel is worth promoting. Hit me up down in the comments, let me know what you think of Promising Young Woman, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.